With only a few more months of the year, 2020 has proven to be one of the toughest years in recent memory for supply chain managers and firms globally. Here are some of our top supply chain tips for 2020. 1. Don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Resiliency is so important and can come in many forms, whether that means relying on multiple modes, vendors, multiple transportation, and shipping partners. It helps your business to survive disruptions and maintain operations at some level of normalcy. Brands both small and large learned that lesson the hard way in 2020, with companies even as large as Apple, Nike, and Mazda scrambling to readjust their factory production footprint on a global scale. Think long and hard about the risk associated with relying on a single factory, supplier, single transportation partner, or single mode of transportation. 2. Plan ahead. It's not always easy to forecast accurate demand levels, but the latest software systems are getting pretty good at it. At least good enough to give more lead time to factories and logistics partners. This will reduce issues across the supply chain and reduce the risk of inventory shortages. 3. Analyze transportation spend. Logistics and supply chain costs have been highly volatile throughout 2020, and that likely won't change for the remainder of the year or even into 2021. All reports suggest trucking capacity to remain firm for the foreseeable future. If you are seeing your transportation spend rise by 50% or even more, you need to take a look at alternatives. Many firms prefer to stay firmly in the spot market. However, if logistics costs like this are encroaching on your bottom line, you will need to consider actions to hedge transportation costs. This can come in many forms, but consider incorporating 3, 6, or 12-month locked-in capacity, which means you will guarantee a transportation provider a certain volume per month or week in exchange for having rates locked in over a period of time. Many bids that focus on monthly or 3-month intervals can help to give some predictability to your freight spend. Incorporating intermodal on long-haul lanes can reduce spend as well by 10 to 25% on many cross-country lanes. Intermodal can be accessed through the spot market or through a guaranteed capacity contract pricing negotiation as well. Other strategies to reduce spend involve shipment volumes, lead time, and the warehousing footprint that inventory is held. 4. Personnel needs. Building clear processes and procedures are critical to making sure your team is on the same page and can effectively execute your supply chain plan. Remote working throughout the pandemic has also created a unique situation in which teams are much more dispersed and more reliant on technology to address potential disruptions. As a manager or business owner, making sure your team has the resources and information they need to be efficient is critical to the overall success of your business. Focus on clear documentation of all aspects of your supply chain with a focus on contingency planning with specific contact details and anything else needed. This provides a continuation of operations if someone is sick, allowing for another team member to temporarily fill in their role. 5. Technology. Your supply chain should leverage technology to automate processes, increase visibility, increase the accuracy of forecasting and inventory management, and to provide better communications between all your team members and logistics partners. As freight prices have risen so rapidly throughout 2020, many supply chains have turned to digital freight providers to quickly give them quoting and access to capacity they otherwise wouldn't have. This has given shippers a relief valve and let them keep freight moving when otherwise they would have paid even more exorbitant rates or simply had to wait to move their freight. You'll be surprised how much time and money you can save by adopting better technology. 6. Import tariffs and duties. With the passing of the USMCA agreement in the summer of 2020, NAFTA was officially replaced by an updated trade agreement, which most agree is an effective agreement and with more considerations given to technology and intellectual property. If you import large amounts of products or raw materials, work with your logistics partners to analyze how the new USMCA agreement affects your financial performance. It may make sense, depending on your industry and product you're moving, to consider nearshoring in Mexico or Canada. While China will always remain a top trading partner, nearshoring does have several advantages that include easier management, reduced lead time, and reduced transportation cost. 7. Make sustainability a priority. Firms will be pushed over time to be more and more sustainable, and many larger firms are taking a serious stand to improve supply chain sustainability. We've seen factories, warehouses, and other facilities add solar panels, more efficient HVAC systems, and lighting. Product packaging is also a large consideration, as firms are trying to reduce the use of plastic and overall packaging volume. Taking even small steps can lead to a much greener supply chain over time and actually reduce supply chain spend by reducing the volume and weight of added packaging. Another initiative is using analytics to reduce fuel consumption through a supply chain. Many times this means incorporating intermodal on longer haul lanes, which reduces greenhouse gas emissions by around 75%, and better planning truck routes to improve fuel consumption. What's next? 2020 has been a strong test of supply chain's resiliency, problem-solving abilities, and procedures. One of the most important actions to take in the remaining months of 2020 is to carefully document what has worked, what hasn't worked, your data analytics, and issues that you've faced. These notes should become a playbook for your firm's supply chain. In the unfortunate occurrence of another major disruptive event, such as a natural disaster, political issue, transportation partner issue, vendor issues, etc., you have a documented plan that your employees can rely on to make sure your supply chain remains functional. More videos are coming along from Zmodal very soon.